Hey everybody, this is Perch, and this question comes up a lot. And a listener sent in this question, and but I get this all the time. And in fact, I rarely, and when I say rarely, I mean I can count it on one hand. And it's been months. Punt somebody from the channel, but I finally did the other day because the guy was coming on and asking the same question and doing it in a really angry, aggressive way. And the question in the mail is this. So, I mean, I'm hoping to set the record straight once and for all. So let me make sure that I'm answering in the most clear way possible. Hey, Perch, do you like John Malin? He seems really cool, but do you like him? I can't tell if you do. Please let me know if you like John Malin. Okay, so here's my answer. I am not a seventh grade middle school girl, and that is a stupid question. Sorry, I thank you for writing it, but why do you care? Honestly, so do I like John Malin? Sure, I get there are four people that regularly I get asked this about. They are. And I don't know what it is about these four people, and it's a weird four people. It's Malin, who people ask me about regularly. It's Ethan Van Sciver, who people ask me about regularly. It's Gail Simone, and it's Al Ewing. If you even go look at the comments of my videos, people ask what do I like them? Not what do I think about their work? Not is Malin a good artist or is Gail a good writer? But do I like them? Do I like them as people? And I find that really weird as a question. I mean, just bluntly, I find it strange. I've met 3 out of those 4 people in person. I'm sure they're fine. I mean, here's the crazy part. With very rare exceptions, everyone I've met in comics, when I meet them in person, tends to be very cordial, tends to be very nice. Very rarely are people grumpy. Kevin McGuire was once grumpy when I talked to him, and I love the guy, but he was clearly in a bad mood or something was going on, and I felt like I caught him at a bad moment. But generally speaking, one of the things, if you go to a comic convention and you meet up with some of these people, almost without a fault, they're nice people. They're quirky. I think I would say that about comic creators in general, artists and writers. They tend to be kind of quirky people. They tend to have a different sense of humor than maybe your average person. But yeah, that's an overgeneralization. They tend to be nice, whether they're left, right, or unknown. They tend to be very polite in person. Part of it, you're going to a convention. They're there to sell goods. So, you of course, you hope they're going to be nice. I mean, if they're not, they're taking dollars out of their own pocket. And generally speaking, most people are smart enough to know that. If you are assuming that creator behavior in real life resembles in any way what they do on Twitter or social media or YouTube videos or any of that, not really. Now, YouTube probably gets closest, especially if they're showing their face, because you're getting a sense of kind of their body language and their personality. For example, I've met Art Thilbert many times, and Art Thilbert in the video seems like Art Thilbert in real life. Seems like the same guy. But generally, generally seems like the same guy. But you definitely YouTube. It's not that the personality amps up. It's like one guy talking to themselves, like I'm doing now. And it's a different perspective than in real life. In real life, you don't go and you stand in front of somebody and watch them just talk to themselves for an hour. That doesn't occur. The whole live stream behavior, if you're going to a bar and you're hanging out with a bunch of creators and people are getting a little drunk and they're all kind of being silly with each other, probably resembles a lot of those group live stream chats. But generally speaking, people are just nice to each other. They tend to be polite and cordial, and that's about it. I find it a weird question because where I go, I'm just is why do you care? Hey there. Well, I moved positions here. Sorry for the cut. I never do cuts. I notice. I talk to other people. I was talking to a friend. He's talking about how he's editing the video and cutting some stuff out of it. And I'm thinking I'm kind of embarrassed. I'm thinking in the back of my head like I just go for 10 minutes and then I post it and I'm like, oh man, maybe I should put more quality and time into this. And I think, nah, I'm going to have this beer instead. That's basically how the thought process goes. Anyway, I had to move location, so that's why you get a slightly different audio going on now. But anyway, it's hot as hell here. Sorry, I was just kind of going on this. I think, look, here's my point of view, and I thought this was kind of a common point of view. I thought that this is what most people think. So you'll have to excuse me a little bit in that. I mean, a lot of this is very weird to me. It's just weird. It feels like what we used to deal with in middle school. Feels like what you used to deal with when people first came on the internet. It was like, you like this more than you like me, and how many hearts are you giving this person? And I mean, this all feels very, very stupid to me. My standpoint is this, and it's one that I know irritates some people, but it's basically, number one, I would like to have more comics published by everybody. I think put your comics out, because I am an adult, and it turns out I have the ability to pick and choose what I want to read. And if a creator does something that I don't like personally, like I feel like I say to myself, I can't support this person, then I just won't read their comic. I don't put my money on the cash register, on the counter. That's it. As a retailer, and this is my stance, I also have this opinion that if I don't like somebody, that's my business. If I'm running a store, I'm not running a store for me, I'm running a store for customers. Therefore, I need to carry all the product that my customers are asking for. If a customer is asking for a comic that I think is written by a complete clown, I'm still gonna sell it, because I'd be a fool not to. Like, what are you doing? You don't say no to money. Your job is to service the customers. That is what shops do, and it's really not more complicated than that. There's a lot of points of view out. I'm seeing some people around Substack posting things like, because they support people on the right wing, because they support Republicans, or they have Republicans on their platform, I can't support them in any way. No, I can't, because the right wing crossed some kind of Rubicon, and I can never support them anymore. I do find that, just as an aside, I find that whole perspective a little strange, because as it turns out, in our nation's history, we've had civil wars, we've had different times when people couldn't vote, we've had horrific things. I mean, I see people saying that the right has never, not the right, but racism has never been worse than it is today. And I'm like, well, I mean, Martin Luther King died in people's arms, assassinated. That's a weird statement for me to make. I mean, or for me to hear. I don't buy it. So I just find all that polarization really, really weird. And so it comes back to, what are we doing here? If you ask me, do I like someone, then my mind translates that to, do I like their work? And if I like their work, I'll buy it. Or if I don't like it, I won't buy it. But at no point do I say, to the original poster's question, do you like John Malin? I mean, sure. I guess. I don't know. He's not my neighbor. I have no idea. Does he, at 1 a.m, does he blast music out of his house that irritates my daughters? I don't. He doesn't live next to me, so I have no idea. So that question is somewhat irrelevant. And but I always feel like people asking that question are trying to open up this back door into, do you think he should be allowed to make comics? And my answer is yes. I think everybody should be allowed. I think Gail Simone should be allowed to make comics. I think Vita Ayala should be allowed. I think everybody should be allowed to make comics, because that statement is absurd. What do you mean allowed to make comics? Are you going to go over to somebody's house, take the pencil out of their hand, and say you can't make comics anymore? I mean, that is insane. I do think publishers and distributors have the right to publish and distribute whatever they want. I think if you're a artist for DC and you kill your wife with a hammer and you go to jail for murder, I think DC definitely can say, yeah, you're not working for us anymore, for sure. And just to jump in front of whatever dumbass is going to write this in the comments, no, in no way am I saying that's equivalent to any of the name, to Ewing or Malin or Simone or any of these people. No, I'm not drawing an equivalency. I'm just saying publishers, yes, it's a free country, have the right to publish who they want, because it is a free country and it's their business. I do not think it's right for people to go on campaigns to try and drive people out of comics. I definitely don't think it's right for people to kind of call up Patreon or someone and say, do you realize that this person said something mean and you should get rid? That's none of your business. Buy the comic, don't buy the comic. The end. The end. But let me put it kind of the opposite way. John Malin doesn't need me to like him or hate him. He just needs to go sell comics because that's what he's doing. So, what do you mean? I seriously, and I'm not being obtuse about this. I really don't get the question. Do I like these people? I mean, generally speaking, I don't have friends all over the place. I have friends that I know. I have a very tight group. The people who are my friends, I'm very loyal to, and I'll help them out. I've known them for years. I've shared many dinners and many bottles of wine and other things with my friends. And these are people that I know. It's a small group. I don't randomly friend, everybody out in the world. That's and again, whether I like somebody or dislike somebody, this is the key point. Whether I like someone or doesn't like someone, in no way should that impact their ability to make a comic. Period. There's people that you, the listener, does not like. I'm sure of it. I hear it in the comments all the time. Lots of people that you don't like. They still should be able to make comics. They always should be allowed to make comics. Period. Anything else is absurd. Sorry, it really is. We have to we have to be grown-ups here, and we have to allow people to do what they want to do. And if you don't like it, don't support it. Take Kelly Sue's advice. Don't buy the comic. But going on these weird these campaigns of who do you like, who do you don't like, and if you don't like that person, then we're going to make trouble for that person. Again, the guy who showed up every day asking me if I liked or disliked creators, you're an annoying. You're annoying. You're an annoying asshole is what you are. I'm sorry. Comics, this is not what comics are. This is not what anything healthy should be. Just like the comic. Don't be weird about it. I guarantee you, because, I guarantee you and God, I mean, I'd probably be, if he's not if Malin, John Malin ever listened to this, I would imagine his reaction would be scratching his head like, what is even going on here? Because that's my reaction. I wish everybody well. Yes, everybody well in making comics. Go make comics. Some people, again, this is a silly argument. Please stop trying to make this into middle school. Make comics. This isn't middle school. The end. That's all. Go home. There's no more. Thanks for listening.